everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. And in support of that mission, we've been doing these free mentoring roundtables since the fall of 2008. Long time. We started experimenting with this online mentoring model back in 2008, and the experiment predates 1 Million by 1 Million in its current form, which we launched in 2010. So it's been a very long journey. We've pretty much, outside of some of my travel dates or Maureen's travel dates, we have been here most weeks in the year. So as a result, this is our 467th free mentoring roundtable, and we use this format in a members-only mode for our premium programs as well. So this is the way we do the project-based coaching in the program. The event is being recorded. You will find recordings of this as well as all prior sessions on the 1M1M Roundtable YouTube channel. On Twitter, we are at 1M1M and at Stromana. Hashtag 1M1M is today's hashtag for live tweeting if you're doing that. These are the call-in numbers. This is a roundtable, not a broadcast. We want you to participate as much as possible. So make a note. I will put the slide back up later on in the program so that you can dial in and weigh in. And in the meantime, the public chat is wide open. You can weigh in any time, ask any questions through the public chat. Now, before we start the scheduled programming today, we have quite a bit, actually, several presenters, and we have Jishnu here as our guest. But before that, let me remind you that the Blackboard 1M by 1M Social Good Startup Challenge is on. Blackboard is a public company, the leaders in cloud-based social goods software space, and they want to work with other companies, other startups, new products that they want to bring into their customer base and their portfolio. They want to integrate with you and so on and so forth. So if you have an idea that features in either ed tech or healthcare IT or catering to nonprofits, CSR organizations, arts and culture organizations, etc., this is going to be an opportunity to win a 1 Million by 1 Million premium scholarship, gain access to Blackboard 45,000 customers, as well as there is a consideration for 5K to 25K non-dilutive grant. So that is the Blackboard 1M by 1M Social Good Startup Challenge. Please do apply. The official deadline is December 1st, but we are meeting with Blackboard actually just after this call to consider actually extending the deadline because they're getting a lot of interest and they want to possibly give a little more time. So we will figure that out, but currently the deadline is December 1st for applications. Today we have with us Jishnu Bhattacharjee from Nexus Venture Partners. Jishnu, welcome to the show. Nexus has been a good friend of our work for a long time. I've known Naren Gupta, founder of Nexus, for at least a decade, if not more. And I'm quite good friends with him, and we love the work that Nexus does, and I believe you respect our work as well. So let's introduce you to our audience. Jishnu, let's start by catching up a bit on where you are right now with Nexus. What is the fund size, current fund size, and what are you focusing on? Just to give a quick summary of what Nexus is right now in end of 2019, going into 2020.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Ramana. Great to be here. So Nexus Venture Partners, we are now in our 13th year. The first investment, the fund started in 2006, December. And so right now, fast forward 13 years, we are managing $1.4 billion. We are investing from our fifth fund, which is 360 million odd, which we raised last year. And it's one fund and one team across two geographies, US and India. And we have offices in Silicon Valley, Mumbai, and Bangalore. And we invest across sectors, both in consumers as well as enterprises. And what we want to, we want to be the first institutional check in a company, and then be with the company through the lifetime. That's the thinking. Across 5 funds so far, we have done about 90 companies, so relatively concentrated portfolio. And when we start working with the entrepreneurs, we want to be their thought partners in building the company through their startup journey.
And Jishnu, from what I understand, you do both India-facing B2C as well as global B2B. Is that a good summary, or am I missing something in that synthesis?
It's actually, no, it's a very good summary. I would add some colors. So if I look back, it's a global fund. It's one fund across the geographies. Now, if I look back, our companies, I would say 1/3 of the companies are addressing in India for India opportunities, and those happen to be mostly consumption, Indian domestic consumption, and Indian, business services, and those kind of things. And the 2/3 of the companies are all technology, mostly software, either starting out of United States or out of India. Now, of course, there are also like a couple of companies we have started in Canada, and there are a couple of companies in Europe like that. But they are all, the 2/3 of our companies are all B2B SaaS, across both verticals.
Okay. And double-click down on both of the sectors and give me a bit of your thoughts on what is your current analysis, and if you could also set that in perspective historically, what was your investment thesis, and how has that investment thesis evolved vis-a-vis India-facing B2C and vis-a-vis global SaaS B2B?
Yeah, so one thing, when at the onset of the firm, first investment happened in January 2007. I joined Naren and Sandeep in July 2008, and from day one, we have been focused on, I would say, one core theme, which is basically one fund and one team across two geographies. And a little bit of background is, if you look at how opportunities have been evolving globally and as it relates to India and Southeast Asia, India and Southeast Asia is a region which is a hybrid of China and Israel. Why we say that is that China, most of the opportunities are domestic. That's where most value creation happens. Israel, almost everything is focused international, 8.4 million people country. And India is a nice blend of the two. There are a lot of domestic opportunities across education, healthcare, finance, and you name it, a lot of kind of verticals. But there is a fantastic technology talent, and now we are also seeing a lot of operations actually can be done out of India, where you can serve the market globally. And that is increasing. I mean, previously it used to be IT services, but now a lot of product companies out of India addressing global market you get to find who are globally competitive. So with that vision we started, and we wanted to leverage our understanding and of technology, understanding of global technology and presence in Silicon Valley. And progressively, if I look back now, about 1/3, about 33% of our companies are originating from United States. I think that number has increased a bit over time, and all these companies are software companies addressing global markets. Now, the way it is happening is that we are a product first and people first for. By that, what I mean is that, we invest in entrepreneurs more than ideas with product thinking. Not necessarily they need to have product on day one, but everything should be led by product. It's product-led growth. We want the companies to evolve to offering something which is self-serve, a self-serve product that can lead to self-serve go-to-market. And because of that, most of our companies which are, offering products, they are being used globally without they needing to, manage a sales force or things like that. So that's how I would say the evolution has happened. Of course, it has gone more towards technology and more towards like, how do you build something which is simple, easy to use, and just works. So,
So one question on self-serve go-to-market. When I think about Nexus, one company comes to mind immediately, which is one of the biggest and the oldest success story out of India is Dhruva, and the company is maturing very well. I've known Jashprit very well for a long time. He touches base with me very regularly, so I know what's happening there. Now, I wouldn't call that exactly a self-serve go-to-market. It's an enterprise product. Is that an accurate observation? How do you parse that comment?
So very, very, very well put. Yeah, exactly. Like, not all companies will follow that, but I will tell you, like, we invested in Dhruva in 2011. And at that time, Dhruva was a small company out of Pune with less than very little, like, few 100K bookings. But the interesting part was at that time, his product was being used in 26 countries. And none of those buyers, none of those customers he has talked to in person or even on the phone. So they were using the product and swiping the credit card. So, he had that DNA of building a product that people can get started with. So at least the product is self-serve. Now, as the company evolved, it turned out that, there are bigger deals happening and bigger enterprises are showing interest. And that's when we decided that, we need to amplify the market outreach and effort. And that's when we started setting up our sales organization.
It's actually incredibly convenient if you have a groundswell inside of an enterprise with people already downloading your products from the internet and starting to use, then you can upsell that into a large enterprise deal much more effectively. Very good.
Exactly, yeah.
So, Jishnu, why don't we talk about some of the investments that you're particularly that are particularly representative of how you are thinking and the big achievements. Do it for both B2C and B2B, and let's understand and try to give the audience a flavor of how these people came to you. What did you see in them when you first invested in them, and what was it about them that really caught your attention? So let's do a few case studies.
Okay. So maybe, I can talk about two companies on both sides, and I will give good colors. I will not, given that, you are very familiar with Dhruva. Dhruva is also a fantastic case study, but for now I will select two other companies.
Sure.
So one company is, a company I'm on the board of, is called Postman.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting, let me tell you the present state of the company. The company started in 2014, so I will go back to the history. Present state of the company is, I would say, the de facto standard for all things API, application programming interface. And at this point, about 10 million developers out of the total population of 32 million in the world are using the product. It has taken off fantastically. It's kind of like, I would say, after GitHub, I haven't seen anything like this. And the idea really is that, in today's enterprise application development stack, the starting point today is often the API and not the code base, because the codes and services are somewhere there. The way applications are being written today is more getting together those modules and microservices and gluing them with API. So
Yeah.
that is, where things are. The company has scaled really well. So let me walk through the journey a bit, and also how we connected and how we got started working with them. So
Yeah.
in
Great.
2014, this was one gentleman, Abhinav Astana. I think at that time he was 26-year-old, someone in Bangalore, just one single person, and he has, he was trying to do a company, and he was also working in another company. Uh, but before he tried to do any company, he was solving a problem for himself. So which was like, he was dealing with a lot of APIs, and as a young engineer, he was needing to test a lot of APIs, because if I'm using somebody else's API and if that doesn't work, then my code will not work, even though I might not have done any mistake. So testing of API is a core problem to solve. So he solved it for him. And then it was a very simple product. He released it as open source. And it turned out that, to his surprise, lot of people are starting to use the product. So exactly. So it was like, he was the representative of many people who are facing the same problem, and they were using the product. So what happened is that one of our other companies, the co-founder of that company, told my colleague in Bangalore that, hey, I have to tell you that this has been a life changer for me. It's one of these most simple products I'm using. I don't know who is this person, but this is helping me, and you have to find him. So then, we didn't waste any time. We found him somehow, and he was just one person. It was not even a company, and he has this project. So we said that, hey, Avinav, it's fantastic what is going on here. We strongly urge you that you start a formal company. So we gave him $1 million and helped him kind of incorporate the company. And then, a couple of other people whom he was collaborating, they joined him, and it's a 3-people team. They started working from our office in Bangalore, and it got going. And from the day one, actually, the product was, so when we funded, it was probably about 80,000 to 100,000 people across the world using the product. Of course, let alone Salesforce, nothing. He just released the product in a GitHub repository, and that's it. And people started picking up, and then, he had, so basically no as such, no big vision and all. His inspiration was the world is being driven by API, and that movement will only continue. But there wasn't really any, any big vision or top-down approach of company building, so to say, at that moment. And we saw the inspiration, we started going. So from 2014, and no talk about monetization or anything. The idea was, can you build something that people love and people use it daily? So then, since then, and we saw that, the kind of interest is coming from all over the world. So we knew that Abhinav will have to be based out of San Francisco to create the thought leadership and all that. There was a lot of course, probably most of the technology companies, the biggest user base, even at that time, was from US. So we invested, and in 2015, actually 2016, he came to US, and the company, got incorporated in US. And that's when we said that, the company would need some more money, because we are setting up the business team. And, we gave him another $6 million. And, it was...
Is Abhinav the CEO, or did you bring in a CEO?
That's correct.
No,
He's the CEO. He's the founder and CEO, and he has 2 other co-founders. And, that's when... And then in 2017, I would say, and the adoption started, went from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to cross million. And in 2017, we started thinking of what we should do regarding monetization. And I think, 2018 was our first year of monetization. This is a company, I would say, at this point, growing, tripling every year with cash added into the bank. We also ended up taking unsolicited $50 million Series B, but that money is sitting on the bank, and we'll figure out what we do with it. But that kind of exemplifies a few core things that we look for. Of course, it's an absolute poster child, and I'm not expecting all the other companies to follow exactly that kind of trajectory. But I would say first thing is, the founder totally obsessed about the problem from day one. Totally obsessed. Problem first, and the solution will come later. But if somebody is not obsessed about the problem and that they have to solve it, then they will never be able to come up with the right solution. That I would say one core thing that we saw in this company.
And in this company, Jishnu, I have one question, which is obviously MuleSoft, right? What was your analysis of what's happening at MuleSoft and the trajectory of MuleSoft when you went down this path?
Exactly. Okay. So very, very, very good question. Very relevant question. So if you look at what MuleSoft has really focused on is okay. So it starts from, I would say, TIBCO journey. So TIBCO had this enterprise service bus, and they popularized software-oriented architecture, SOA. And the idea was there will be a message bus running, and on which you will build enterprise applications which will talk to the message bus. That was the architecture until web apps started coming in, and then API came in. So MuleSoft's history, if you look at, they were primarily at that time an open, I would say, pre-2010 was open source enterprise service bus. And then as the movement started going to API, they thought that they would need to build an integration platform where different applications will be brought into their platform and then will be connected by APIs. Now, the core difference in observation that Abhinav had in Postman and MuleSoft is that MuleSoft was about there are existing applications, how do you tie them up? But Postman is about, suppose I'm writing an application today, how I am going to do it when there are already APIs which are existing. So it's more of an API first approach rather than a code and application first approach to build the service. So MuleSoft so it's complementary, but now a lot of things you can do in Postman for which actually, if you are using Postman from get-go, you will not need MuleSoft. So the way to put it is that if somebody has MuleSoft and they are doing it, Postman is absolutely 100% complementary. There are a lot of things you do in Postman which you can't even do in MuleSoft. But many people from bottom up have this, as they started using Postman, there are very few things of MuleSoft you will ever need. So,
Excellent. So this company I would love to feature in our Entrepreneur Journey series. It sounds like an excellent case study.
Yeah, Vinay will be, and he is in San Francisco. He'll be very, very happy to talk to you. Yeah, I'll be happy to make an introduction.
Sounds good. You want to do another story?
Yeah, so that's B2B. Now let me talk about a B2C company. That's in India actually, but it has grown like weeds. It's called Unacademy. The journey started 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I think 2016 for us. He started the company, I think, in 2015, somewhat like that. And then actually 2017, if I'm not mistaken, it has grown really, really fast. So the principle was, and our interest in the company started from the day we got to know the name of the company, Unacademy, because his thinking was, how teaching is being done, in an academic-oriented approach. There are a lot of things that can be done differently, especially in India, where access to education and great teachers and pedagogy is so difficult. So the idea really is that, somebody sitting wherever in nook and corner of the country who may not have the right coaching center or the right professor or right teacher, can you give them a platform that they can learn? So it is more for like here, there has been companies like Udemy where people will come in and teach courses. The idea was, how do you do it in a mobile only world, which is India, and if I'm an educator and if I know that, I have something to offer, how do I create content on the platform and then start teaching students on the same platform? So the way it started is that, he opened up and built a product where without any help, any educator who doesn't know technology can build the content on the mobile phone. So either you start from some, if you have some slides, or you start from scratch. So it was a platform for the educators, and then once you have it, you publish it on the Unacademy portal, and from there, students were consuming. This was initially, it was totally asynchronous. So you have your, I'm a teacher, I publish my content, and then students start picking it up. Right, and it was free, totally free, when it started. And since then, there are two core principles. One is the educator can build the content very easily, and the second is the content was very bite-sized. So the idea was you will talk about a topic, but it cannot be more than 5 minutes. And that whole thing took off. Like, they started doing it, now fast forward like 2-3 years, they are serving 10 million students across the country. Which is unheard of for, in India, if you look at, there are a lot of coaching centers, and that's where the aggregation of students happen. People go and spend time there, and it's a big investment, and only few can afford. So that has been totally democratized. And then what he did was, through that, as suppose I'm a teacher and I release some of the content, and students start using, then based on the reception by the students, there is a rating for me on, how I am doing on the platform. And then Unacademy organizes live classes for me, for the interested students who really want to interact and go deeper. So now there are lot of concurrent, and those are paid. So there are a lot of concurrent live sessions happening. Each class might be attended by 200, 300 students across the country, where people do different stuff. At this point, the classes are happening mostly for test preparations. It's a huge market in India for all kinds of tests, government organizations, government exams, IITs, and many of these tests. We are of course still scratching the surface, but the company has taken off like a wildfire. Now there also the thesis, two things that resonated with us. One was, really product-led. He hardly spent any money when he started. And even today, actually, the marketing has been very, very minimal. There is some marketing activities he's doing. Correct, exactly. And the second is, the entrepreneur is very, very kind of very out-of-the-box thinker. And he started from naming his company Unacademy. And then, just thinking through, not, questioning the status quo. His co-founder was actually a topper in UPSC exam, the IAS exam, Indian Civil Service exam, and he was also a doctor before he was topper. He was AIMS. He was a medical doctor from AIMS, India's premier medical institute. He gave up. So all of them are kind of very, very different thinkers. He did that. He came out. He topped IAS, but didn't join to take a job. Started a company. And very product obsessed, really problem focused entrepreneurs. So
So one question, you mentioned that for Postman there is a $50 million round that you raised that is sitting in the bank. What is the thinking behind taking such a round? Why do you take money when you don't need money?
So very good question. And honestly, in this case, it also happened that, we didn't plan for a raise, but of course, people noticed and they structured it and made an offer, which was very difficult to say no to. So the thinking started from there. Now to get to your question, why? I think few reasons. First of all, as we are going up the stack, there are today, now, many of these enterprise accounts are coming up. For example, Microsoft alone has 2,000 users of the product. And as we are building out, we thought that, having some cushion in the bank that will help us, A, experiment maybe even faster, and B, there might be certain kind of parallelization effort of product development that we might do, and even kind of like, looking at what all auxiliary things might be there that can. So I think from that vision, it has been done. Not necessarily that, like till now, I will tell you, like, the company is growing really fast, but there is not a single salesperson in the company. It is all driven by, there is business team, there is marketing, and there is customer success, but there is no sales. So we want to continue that journey of go-to-market, but invest heavily in, I would say, product development, and also a lot of kind of product-led growth, as we say. So everything is data-driven. There's 10 million users, but out of which, how do you kind of put this into pipeline? How do you nurture things, and how do you grow the business? So we want to kind of stay in that path, but be on the journey, and see, like, be open about, be opportunistic, but no pressure to use the capital. It's a very important question, Shramana, and best, like, I would say one of the models that we are following in the company in a way is Atlassian. Like, I mean, they also raised a lot of money, but for last, they created $30-40 billion of value in a span of 20 years. And for first 10 years, they didn't take any money.
Atlassian is a wonderful company.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Company. And they have showed something that is, just like, Zoho showed something that was believed to not be possible. Atlassian has showed something that was believed not to be possible. And these are all superb case studies of how to build companies with product focus and adoption focus, as opposed to, funneling a lot of money into sales. So how much of the portfolio, the Nexus portfolio today, fits into this model? Because I remember Sandeep also talked about the kind of like commercial open source model as being one of the preferred models of Nexus. How much have you been able to find? Are there lots of companies that are following this, that are coming to you? Are you able to find lots of companies? Or are they all getting swayed by the unicorn chasing with huge amounts of capital?
I mean, honestly, that is very much there, and it's more of a, for us, like, kind of like, working with the entrepreneur's mindset and making sure that, so there are two vectors to it. Okay, so your first question, quite a few of our companies are like that. Maybe, 1/3 of our companies are all product-led, and many of them open source, many of them kind of, I would say, if not open source, but something that's a self-serve kind of viral adoption-based companies. So we love those. The important part is that, I mean, in today's DNA, of course, money is abundant, and if somebody is doing well, it's not difficult to raise money.
Money finds the way to them.
Yeah, and there is a lot of peer effect also. Like, okay, I'm a great entrepreneur and I'm seeing my friend, they raise a lot of money, I'm also doing well. But what we try to make sure, and we are very, very bottom up, like, as you have known, Naren, and, the DNA kind of comes from there, very bottom up focus, like fundamentals driven company builders. So we want to emphasize that point very much as a thought partner to the entrepreneurs, that, focus on your fundamentals, product, go to market, and then as you would scale up. And, money, funding events are events along the journey, and yeah, these are important and we have to use it, but not like, you raise 50 million and start living in glass houses tomorrow, So, so that, yeah, but it is difficult, honestly. And sometimes, like, there are later stage investors who are coming in, they have different expectations, they put in a lot of money, and aligning, I think alignment of the board is a key role we are needing to play today.
Very, very much.
So, and yeah.
Yeah. So absolutely. So we'll chat offline and figure out which of your companies we should feature in the Entrepreneur Journey series, and we'll also get together once we are both back in town. Thank you, Jishnu. It was a pleasure chatting, and I'm sure people in the audience found it very valuable. You're stating a philosophy that is very much our philosophy of company building, which is bottom-up, fundamentals-driven, capital efficient, not gratuitously spending money without figuring out how you're going to make money and how you're going to build a business. So thank you for that, and we will be in touch.
Yeah, no, totally. And Thanks to all of you for listening to me for the last few minutes. And great to be here. And thanks again, Shramana, for having me in your event.
My pleasure. Okay, folks, we are going to switch segments now to the entrepreneur pitch session. First and foremost, as you know, this is a safe working session. So don't need to be defensive. No need to be nervous. I'm on your side. We're going to work on your challenges and we'll see if we can accelerate your journey. That's all there is to it. If you disagree with my feedback, that's fine too. It's your venture. You see it, from the inside. You've thought about it much more. My feedback is going to be based on experience and industry experience and lots of pattern matching. I have seen a tremendous number of companies. I've seen successes. I've seen failures. I will try to give you feedback based on that. Remember one thing, not all businesses can raise money. Not all businesses should raise money. And raising money doesn't guarantee success. We will start today's session with Shubhojyoti Ganguly from Bangalore, India. Shubhojyoti, please unmute your line and tell us what you're doing.
Hello, Shramana. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. So I'm Shubhojyoti Ganguly. Actually, we spoke before once. I was part of the Oracle 1Mby1M premium program under Paolo, and I pitched to you at that time. So that was my starting point. And then I followed the 1Mby1M premium curriculum there only. And then then after Paolo left Oracle, then I sort of following the bootstrapping with paycheck methodology, joined the company and started my own thing at the side.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so the idea is basically a robotic bartender, a cocktail mixing machine. So if you can, this is a YouTube video, a small 2 minutes video, which will give you a complete product overview. If it is feasible, you can click on that and you can see that, or I can explain it to you.
I have a lot of presenters today, so I would rather not spend the time to watch the video on, while we are doing. I'd rather spend the time discussing with you what your strategy is and how we can help you. Why don't we, who can watch the video offline, and we can watch the video offline as well. So let's go into your business strategy.
Absolutely. So while doing our market research, what we observed is that, so in a high rush on a weekend or on a Saturday night, so the bartenders, when they are making cocktails, they don't measure actually 30 ml, 60 ml like that. They just randomly do it out of their assumptions, out of their practice. Now the result is that so the taste profile of the cocktails which they make is never uniform. First. Second is, like, even 1 ml to 2 ml of extra liquor that is being poured to the cocktail is wastage. And liquors is expensive. So even 2 ml of liquor wastage in every drink, and in a pub like around 500 drinks are getting sold in a day, and an average pub on a weekend night. So that's a huge wastage over the month. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to build a machine with 2 pain points in mind. First, we want to accurately make these cocktails, make these recipes. Second, we want to reduce the order to table time. A person walks into the pub, he orders the cocktails, then the bartender makes it, then some waiter brings it to him. There is on an average, around 15 minutes of time it takes for the cycle to follow through. So we wanted to reduce that time. So this was our 2 main pain points. So what we built is a small machine which sits on the bar counter. The customer walks in the pub and he gets a notification immediately on his mobile. He places his order directly there, and the drink is dispensed immediately in the machine. He can collect it either himself or the waiter can bring it to him. Simultaneously, the pub owner also gets business insights on which cocktails are getting sold more, the predictive sales analysis, and which kind of liquors are consumed more. Based on that, an inventory management is set up. So when should be the lead time, when should he order his next vodka lot, and these kind of things. And plus, the third value that we have is that mixologist, like a Mexican mixologist will only sell his mixes in a local pub to his local customers. So mixologists and bartenders can't really scale up their business. There is no opportunity in that field. So we are providing that platform as well. So we have designed a system where a mixologist can upload the recipes onto our cloud platform, and that recipe can be dispensed on any pub which has one of our machines, and the mixologist will earn an incentive for every drink that is getting dispensed. So this is the overall idea of the product. So our customers are mainly all...
Your value proposition presentation is very good.
Yes. So all thanks to your curriculum. It gave a real good insight how to frame these things.
Curriculum is only as good as the students studying it.
Yeah. So this is a sort of pubs and bars, nightclubs around the world. So the surprising fact is that in India, Bangalore has the largest number of pubs in entire Asia. So that is the first kind of customer we are targeting. It has almost 8,000 pubs in Bangalore alone. Then slowly I have done the customer segmentation all over the world, where Spain has the highest number of pubs in the world. Alone, Spain has 150,000. USA also has and Europe has the highest number of concentration. Together, closer to around 500,000. No, I haven't.
So something that you should look into, because the Spanish market has, I don't know the market from the inside. I know Spain very well as a consumer. I've been to Spain many times. Yes, Spain has wonderful bars, and they serve these small tapas dishes and drinks with it. How much of that market is cocktails versus wine versus sangria? Sangria is very popular, and sangria is a fairly straightforward drink. Is there a lot of cocktails that get served in Spanish bars? You have to understand these nuances of the market.
Yes. So you are absolutely correct. So even I was concerned of this. So I have spoken to some of the lead innovation partners of Abinbev breweries. So, and I got really good insights from them. So currently the state is that more than 50% of the liquor market is beer. There is only 20 to 30% of that market is liquors. And that is where the cocktail concentration is lying. But the thing is, that is what I have noticed. But the thing is, the profit margin for the pubs on a cocktail is almost 5 to 10 times higher than on a beer or a liquor sale. So they always push sale towards cocktails, and most of the Friday nights, the parties, most of the marketing, the pubs marketing is done towards cocktail sales. So yes, that is
got it. Good, keep going.
So the validation part of
that's very good.
Yes, we have like in Bangalore, I have done a market research from several pubs. I have taken feedback, and the current stages I am building. We built an initial very small POC and showed it to the pubs how it operates, but they wanted a real product which they could demo for a month and use and see. So we are in the stage of building that product. We are building the product. So the plan is by February, the product, and it is completely bootstrapped. So we are building the product. By February, we plan to launch it with one customer, 2 customers we have in mind. We want to demo it to them for a month, give a trial version. Based on the feedback, we want to start raising money, because this is a sort of very hardware business, right? So a lot of upfront capital is required to set up manufacturing houses and production cycles, all this.
So let's talk about the business go-to-market. What is the price? Yes, so talk about the pricing model. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah, so the pricing model is very simple. So there is no buying of this machine. It's a rent basis. So the rent is a basic plan of $250 per month, which is the machine rent and anytime maintenance. And the premium plan is simply $550 per month, which is apart from the basic plan, you have this value-added services, which is the inventory and management and the predictive sales. And this is mainly meant for pubs which has a lot of customers and like they are unable to manage the weekends and Saturday nights. So the premium plan is meant for those.
How many machines would one pub buy?
Okay, so that's a good question. So that depends on pubs to pubs. Some pubs which are huge, has 2-3 floors, they can buy 2-3 machines in one pub itself. Also, we have noticed like most of the owners of these pubs do not own a single pub. They own a franchise of several brands of pubs. So if field sales is very easy in this case. So if you target one, you can get a bunch of 10 pubs together, or you will not get anything. So the sales field is in this way.
You're thinking in the right direction, which the fact that you've done the curriculum shows amply. The question that you should calculate very carefully is there enough of an average deal size to support field sales? If you've done the curriculum, in the Sales 2.0 model, if you're going to do B2B sales, you're going to have, if field sales means that you're going to have a large average sale price. So maybe your market entry strategy is entirely on the large franchises where there are multiple pubs and so forth, and that's what you need to target as your go-to-market.
That is what my plan is. So I wanted to take a feedback on that also. So that was one of my questions also, like how to organize the field sales in this force, because we have a monthly based subscription. So one of my strategies of thinking was that in my field sales, I was to try to push for a 1-year contract or 2 years contract billed monthly. If we go in this direction, then the deal size becomes significant, and yet it becomes affordable for the customer, for the pub owners. This was one of my strategies for sales. But that is something only after I do a customer validation, I'll be able to have better insight.
You're going to have to pick up some reference customers that, are early adopters that validate that this works and they're willing to pay for it. They're kind of like somebody has to build a cat, and they will do that, and then you can use those to do other deals and everything. So now get customers. That's the most important thing, and then we'll figure out the scaling.
The problem here is that like to build to a stage where the business is validated, I would need a significant, like at least 10 to 15 customers. But the sort of cost of building the machines, like each of these machines cost around 1.5 to 2 lakhs to make in rupees. So that is around $3,000, something around that. So that amount of money just alone in bootstrapping is becoming a bit difficult.
There is no margin. What is the margin then?
The margin is in the rental basis. So if a customer rents the machine for at least 6 months, we break even. That's it. If a person is taking up a contract of 1 year, we are profitable for that customer. There is a margin in that.
How are you $3,000 is the cost. You're not breaking even in 6 months with the basic plan. You need to go longer with the basic plan to break even.
Yes. For the basic plan, it will be a bit longer. But for the basic plan, the cost $3,000 is actually 1.5 lakhs. Well, how much is that in dollars? I think $3,000 is a bit higher estimate.
Yeah. So, are you sure this is the right pricing?
We can increase up the pricing. Depends. Like $550. I did the market research. The pub owner said I pay around $400 per month, like 20 to 30,000 rupees to my bartender every month. If your machine can do the job of one bartender, I'm fine with that amount. So $550 is very affordable for most of the pubs in India, in Bangalore. $250 is like we want to acquire more customers, so we want to keep a lower pricing model. That was my
but be
part of
careful
acquisition cost.
Be careful to build business models that don't have margin. The 550 has margin, the 250 doesn't have margin, and I would caution you to not go too far down the 250 path. You may want to raise the 250, may keep the 550 as premium, but maybe 250 is not the right price. So anyway, that needs to be thought through. And the other thing is,
okay.
I would like you to look at what is the TAM purely based on franchises, bars that have lots
okay.
of units, and see, because that is your market entry segment. In due course, once you get adoption, maybe the smaller pubs will also start buying, and you're gonna have more of a telesales-based approach or some sort of a distribution or something. You're gonna figure out a channel to sell to the smaller pubs, but for the moment, you're gonna have to do direct selling, and you're gonna need to have sufficient average deal size to do direct selling, and for that, you're gonna need the larger deal sizes. So franchises is your only option.
Okay.
Or not necessarily franchises, but people who have multiple pubs or multiple bars under the same.
Absolutely. I got it. Big brands, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So the competitive positioning is most of these other competitors, they are still in launch phase, Kickstarters and just launched startups. Out of them, Somabar, the second one, is the only popular one. It is still in US. So they have a very reasonable size of customers, mostly airport lounges, hotels, 5-star hotels, and smaller pubs. But the major complaint which their customers have is they do not have a cooling mechanism, nor do they have like you cannot just put any ingredient in a Soma bar. They have certain things called Soma pods. Those Soma pods are actually pre-mixed to build a certain set of cocktails. So you have to buy those Soma pods, refill them, and this is one of the disadvantages, but that is very affordable, one of the strong competitor in the segment. Other than that, Bartendro and Bartesian, they are also good. Monster is also good, but the thing is, they are not like none of these systems have a cloud connected and inventory analysis and all of the connected experience system which we are giving. So, and the biggest advantage we have is our pricing model.
Very good work, Shubhojyoti. You can definitely move forward with this, and it looks good. So get going with your validation. It's going to be tricky how to finance this and everything, but we can work on it. All right.
Okay. So why do you say it's going to be tricky financing? Like, what is the nuance here?
Anything that has a lot of upfront financing requirements without validation is hard. So you have to get to validation somehow. You're not going to do $4 million in 2020. That's going to not be viable, I don't think, because you're going to have to go through the financing. It's going to take you 6 months to get it financed after you manage to validate
Absolutely.
it.
No. To 2020, by that I mean year 1, year 2, like that, after financing. Yes, obviously I cannot produce 100 machines per month without financing. And
I think your revenue forecast also is very, very optimistic. You don't go from 20 million to 600 million in any business almost. So, and definitely not one that requires field sales. This is where you are losing credibility. We're going to have to work on it. So I suggest you buy yourself a premium subscription and start working with me on fixing all these issues. But that's how this stuff needs a lot of work.
Okay.
Investors are not going to take any of this seriously. Okay, good work. Excellent work, I would say, so far. Thank you, Shubhojyoti. We're going to need to move to the next presenter. I see that Nushan is trying to present next. Folks, Nushan is in Australia and it's very late, so if you don't mind, I'm going to have Nushan present next. So Nushan, are you on the call? Can you unmute your line?
Yes, I'm on the phone.
Just a second. Let me go to your slides. Then we'll come back to the Gustavo and the other one. Go ahead.
Okay, so the startup is called Bring It. So what we're basically like an Uber Eats of small businesses. For example, Uber Eats offers their service to restaurants, but what we do is we focus on things such as butchers, clothing stores, and other small businesses which doesn't have that kind of delivery service. And for the research we've done, here in Australia, we found out these businesses need some kind of delivery service to deliver their product to customers to their house.
Yep.
So we plan on having a similar model to Uber Eats, but instead of the cooked food, we're delivering products such as clothes, product from butchers and things like that.
Okay.
Can you actually go back to the slide? Go back to So with this, we believe this can like help the local economy and also encourage customers to shop local, and which will increase the community harmony in a way. Next slide, please. So the structure of this company will be, so when the person orders the product from either the website or through the app, one of the drivers in the area will pick up the order and take it to the house, and we plan on doing this in around 30 to 40 minutes, so similar to Uber Eats timing, and this is much faster than even companies such as Amazon can offer, even though this is from the local area. And all the payments are handled through the company, similar to Uber Eats, and hence neither the shop, the driver, nor the customer exchanges any money. And in the case that the product is damaged or stolen, the company will compensate it. Next slide, please. So the team, it's me, Nushan Anguru, who's the business legal aspect of the company. We also have Ian Felix, who's the product development manager aspect of the company. We go to university together. That's how we know each other. And we also have 2 investors at the moment who I can't reveal their names. And we're based in Australia at the moment.
And how much money are you getting from these investors to get this going?
So one of the investors has promised us around 50 to 100,000.
Okay.
If we can prove further this is a viable product.
Okay.
And next slide, please.
So, where are you now?
We are in the process of developing the app actually, and in form discussions with, for example, with this thing, we're actually in discussions with the local Victorian government, which is the state we're in Australia. So we believe because we're helping local communities, the state, we've actually had a discussion with the Minister for Small Business, and he's actually had positive reaction to what we're offering because he believes like it can benefit the community. So he's actually helped express interest in getting along with our thing and helping a company do the trials and things like that, because he believes at the end of the day it will actually help the community. So
Nushan, my feedback to you is the first thing you need to do is get a handful of whichever community you want to start. Let's say you start in Melbourne and you need, a set of customers, basically small businesses that are going to get on your platform and offer their services through your platform. So their products and their delivery service through the platform, and start modeling the business. Right now, based on what you've presented, I have no sense of what this business is. If you looked at Shubhojyoti's presentation right before you, he had a lot more details about what is this business, what is the pricing, how much money are you making, what is the business model, what is the total available market. All these things need to be in there. So I don't know who your investors are or what their level of sophistication is, but any investor who knows what he or she is doing would need to see those details before they actually sign a check, and they should. If they're not doing that, then they're not doing themselves a favor in terms of due diligence. So I sense that you have some learning to do in terms of how to build a business plan, how to build a business strategy, and how to pitch an investor, and also how to analyze the business yourself. So if you like, I will explain how to use 1 million by 1 million later in the program. If you like, just join the program, and we can teach you all that. That's what we do, and we do that very well.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so as long as the investors are concerned, they haven't actually invested yet, but they want to see more progress. But they have told us we will invest in the range of 50 to 100,000.
There's a long journey between some investors expressing interest and investors actually signing a check that you can deposit in the bank and start using.
Well, what do you actually think about the concept, the idea itself?
There's no problem with the concept, but the concept can only be evaluated in terms of the money. Right now, it's just a concept with no financial detailing of how do you make money, how big is the business, how big a business can you build with it. So without that, I cannot tell you, whether investors should invest in this company or not. And I think investors would have a very hard time judging whether they should write this check or not unless you present to them a significant financial analysis. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do, is learn how to do that and then do that for your business. Even for your own benefit, you should have that analysis done as soon as possible.
Okay, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah? And you can start by just joining 1 million by 1 million basic, which is $99 a month, and you can access the curriculum, do it at your own time, and rapidly take your concept and put it through the methodology, and you should be able to start at least getting to some degree of progress with that. And then if you decide that you want to work with me, you can come back and join 1 million by 1 million premium, and I will coach you through that process.
Yeah, I'll see how the startup progresses, and if there is a need, I feel like I'll join the 1 million by 1 million program.
Yeah, and it's not a question of how the startup progresses. There is something that you need to do, and it seems to me just talking to you that you don't know what you don't know, and you need to learn that as soon as possible. Whether you want to learn that through 1 million by 1 million, you want to learn that from other source, but you have to learn the methodology of how to put one foot before the other in the context of this startup. So that's a requirement. You have to do that as soon as possible. And okay. Frankly, I know that if you do the 1 million by 1 million basic and just do curriculum, just do 50 hours of curriculum work and frame your project in that methodology, you're going to make tremendous progress in 1 month. And that's a progress that you need to make. However, you learn that methodology, but you need to learn the methodology as soon as possible.
Yeah, because thing is, like, the university I go to, they also have their own entrepreneurship program, which they also coach us with. Yeah, so whatever
way you want to learn, you need to learn it as soon as possible.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, good luck. Thank you for staying up late.
No, it's fine. Thanks for that then.
All right, we're going to go to Gustavo next from Boca Raton, Florida. Gustavo, unmute your line, please. Are you on the call?
You hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you for the invitation, Mrs. Mitra. Let me just give you a brief explanation, because this is a 35-year project that I have developed. And I would ask you very respectfully, I need you to change your mind chip from that technology and products to people, because this is a business of people. I am a CEO. Well, I actually was a CEO, retired a year and a half ago to do this business. And I traveled all over the world. And I learned a lot of things. I run my businesses. I run joint ventures. I did some learning and some teaching, both of them. Now, 35 years ago, I would say, I always looked for a business that not only helped people, but that also was easy to sell. And let me tell you basically what this is. The faith business, like I call it, is one of the biggest money-producing businesses in the world. It is very close and very tight. You can't get into it. And I don't want to say this word, but it's like a mafia organization. You can't get into this business because actually they don't want you to know exactly what's inside, how they operate. It was easy for me to get into it because I was a CEO. They needed my experience. They needed my business background. They needed how to do business and how to make money. So I was able to get into this organization, and I went all the way from just a regular inside member to a head director and of business and of everything they did. And 15 years, I learned from what they did. Now, after 15 years of knowing not only the customer, but also who heads this business, I decided to try it out. And when I tried it out, the results were amazing. Let me tell you basically what we do. This is a business of people. Why? And why is it so why was it so successful, and why I'm going to do it again? What we address is the basic needs of humanity. We are selling products and services, but they don't have to spend any more money than they're already spending. In other words, it's an easy product and service to sell because it comes out of their monthly expenditures. We just reorganize that to make sure they can acquire. Yes.
I've been listening to you for a while, and I have no idea what the hell you do, and that is not a good pitch.
Uh-huh.
I'm giving you a pitch feedback now.
Okay.
You talked about a lot of things that seem a little bit kind of blah, blah, blah to me. I want to know what you do. And if you don't tell me what you do, my mind is kind of straying. I'm looking at the tree and the leaves, and I can't focus.
Okay. I just wanted to give you a little background. Okay. Here's what we do. We form an organization inside the faith-based organization. We take these people, knowing that they've been around forever and waiting for this forever, and we join them together in a membership. That membership is going to help them not only save money, but it's going to help them change their lives. It's going to help them also be able to understand how to make a plan.
Who is the customer?
The customer is everybody who goes to a church or any kind of faith organization. It's 80% of the people that we know, but basically it's the people that go to the churches, and they are meeting every Sunday, and they're listening to promises and all kinds of things that they're not, haven't fulfilled. So the customer is, and I took advantage of that, the customer is somebody who's been going to a church, and they're, 200, 300, 500, 1,000, or 10,000 in the same building, and that was the way I used to form the membership. So the
and
customer
what is the value proposition to what are they getting from this? What are you selling? What is the product? What is the service? What are you selling to these churchgoers? Okay,
very simple. We start by forming a membership where we take them to seminars, and we help them organize a plan. We help them organize their expenditures. We help them save on their mortgages. We help them save on their car loans. We have sponsors, or we rounded up sponsors, which we made contracts with. And we brought this group in. I said, it's like going to a bank. I go to a bank, and if I have one person for a mortgage, I'm not going to achieve anything. But if I have 1,000, 2,000, 50,000 that I can bring to that company, then I'm going to get a special treatment for them. Then we're going to get a commission, and they're going to get some savings.
And do you have this running, or is it a concept?
Well, no, I have it running. I run it from 2000 to 2006 in a very small country of 3 million people. And first 3 years we had 350,000. Just at a membership, we were making around $1.7 million. Today, because the business is still running, is over 1 million people. Now, I went through a divorce in 2005, 2006. I knew I was going to lose my kids, so I just gave it to those 850 churches that helped me. And I just, released the contracts with the sponsors, released the contract with the members, and just let the business keep running without making any money. I went back to my businesses, and I keep doing it. So we did do it. I have videos, and we had 10,000 people in a meeting. We had 350,000 people join in the first 3 years. And we had Visa organization trying to give us a membership card. It is a very difficult business to pitch in 15 minutes, but basically we are supplying people who have looked for some help or some kind of miracle or some kind of basic need that they haven't fulfilled.
So look, I think I understand what you're trying to do. Let me pitch it back to you and you tell me whether it's actually very easy to pitch.
Okay.
No business should be difficult to pitch in 15 minutes. No business should be difficult to pitch in 3 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to pitch this back to you, and you tell me if I've got it. You want to cater to faith or faith-based organizations and create a membership model where, so if you go to a such and such church, you can join this membership group, pay a membership fee, a monthly membership fee or an annual membership fee, whatever, and that gives you access to a set of services, whether it's kind of optimization of mortgage or various kinds of community services, essentially, maybe financial services, maybe community services that come as part of the membership. And you're going to take that, the churchgoers congregation, let's say, and the large number of members in there, and you're going to, on the back end, you're going to take that volume buyer and go negotiate deals with various organizations that want to cater to those audiences. This is your business. This is what you want to do.
Yes, it's missing one point, is that when we get the membership, we get it through the pastor. He makes a lot of money. You see, they are out there to make money. They're not out there to do anything else. So we get it through the pastor. The pastor joins. He orders the people to join the membership because he's going to make a lot of money. And that's how we start building the group. We approach the leaders.
That is the end of the church. If a pastor's primary goal is to make money, the pastor is going to get fired right there on the spot.
Well, the pastor's already making money. So you see, they live off the offerings and the tithes. So it's been around for thousands of years that people go to church and they give donations. It's not a strange thing to do. We're just going to optimize the way the pastor is going to take his money and
yes, but if you pitch it like that, that's not going to work. You're going to have to pitch it differently, but the point is you're going to create a business. You're going to create a subscription service that churches can make money off as well as you can make money off. So the pitch needs a lot of work. This is a terrible pitch.
Okay, I thank you for that information. The thing is, like I told you, I'm trying to be bold in what I pitch because business, you don't involve feelings in business. But it's been happening forever. You see, the church...
Yeah, there's nothing complicated about the concept, Gustavo. I can understand the concept. I think the concept is fine. You need to get going with it and start building the product. I don't see a problem with the concept. So what is your question? How can I help you?
Well, basically, it's a profitable business, and it's been a profitable business. We need an investor to help us with the start cost. I did that 20 years ago when I started it.
There will be no investor who will help you get started. Investors fund businesses, not concepts.
Okay.
Unless it's a friends and family investor, in which case you don't come to me, you go to your friends and family.
Yeah. It's more than I can, more than friends and family can do. But it's about, it started a lot of years ago, but it's restarting the business. It doesn't need much money anyways. The first year we set up the groups, and once we set up the groups, everything comes out of the memberships. So it's basically that startup capital. So if you know how to implement this business, go implement this business. There is nothing I can do to help you because this is not in a fundable state, and you seem to know what you're doing, and you have a plan of what you're doing. You don't need to learn anything here. So if we don't have anything to teach you, and we cannot get you funded, there's nothing that you're going to get here in 1 million by 1 million at the moment. Okay, that's okay. That's fine with me. Not a problem. I just wanted to pitch to you, see what I can learn from you, and if that's the case, I'll better the pitch.
The pitch needs a lot of work. I don't think this is a good pitch at all.
Well, it's a complicated business, you know, and for most people, they don't understand.
We deal with complicated businesses all the time, and we know how to pitch complicated business. It's not that complicated a business. Your pitch is terrible.
Okay, I can accept that. No problem.
Okay,
you know,
good luck.
we learn every day. It doesn't matter. I can accept that.
Yeah, as long as you're open to learning, you will figure it out.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, good luck, Gustavo.
Thank you.
Is Matt still here, or has Matt disappeared? I don't see Matt in the room. So looks like Matt has disappeared. Okay, so we are going to go to the wrap-up segment. If you like what we're doing here, please bring serious entrepreneurs into 1 million by 1 million who want to learn and who want to use our resources to help get ahead. All resources are at 1Mby1M.com. There's a terrific blog. There's the Entrepreneur Journeys book series. There are 12 volumes of that. You can learn from there. These roundtables happen every week. The premium program is our full acceleration program. If you need to, you can absolutely join that, and we will help you through your acceleration journey. Go to the website, do the self-assessment, see if you can answer these questions. These are investor questions that you would need to answer if you're looking for funding. 1M Basic is a very good place to start methodology learning, and many of you that I see here need that methodology learning. And go dig around on the website, see what to expect from premium, what to expect from basic, and get going. And if you have questions, come and ask us. There are lots of FAQs, video FAQs, description of the curriculum. This is a case study-based program. You're learning from other people who've done it before. Our methodology is bootstrap first, raise money later. We don't fund concepts. And that's pretty much it. The free roundtables coming up are December 19th, January 23rd, January 30th. Go register to pitch or attend, and we'll see you at one of those. The online rendezvous happens December 17th, January 21st, and January 28th. Next, that's available on LinkedIn Live, Facebook, and Twitter. And in-person rendezvous at Cafe Boroni, the next ones are December 18th and January 22nd. That is all, and we are ready to adjourn the session. If you have questions about the program, please contact Irina Patterson, irina@1Mby1M.com, and she will answer your questions. Thank you for coming today, and we will see you in December. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, for those of you in the United States and celebrating Thanksgiving, and see you soon. Bye.